my name's Kyle and I'm here from Tabletop Gamers, and today we're going to be talking about a party game called Snake Oil. It cures what ails ya. And so in this party game, for those of you that maybe are not sure and maybe haven't heard of it before, it's basically a game where you're trying to sell a product. Granted, it is a snake oil type product, meaning that it doesn't truly do what it is marketed to do. And so you're kind of like a con man in a way. You're trying to sell a product to somebody and outdo other snake oil salesmen. So today we're going to be talking about what are some strategies and ways that can improve your game when it comes to this. And by improve your game, I mean you personally doing better at the game itself. So naturally, when you think of a game like this, you're probably thinking, okay, this is an extroverts type of game. And that is definitely true. But I think that introverts also can be effective at selling things and doing well in this game. And so we're going to talk about some strategies that can help both introverts and extroverts at being an expert snake oil salesman. So starting us off, let's go ahead and first talk about making sure we think outside the box. Sometimes we become too rigid when we pick two cards, right? Because you have to pick two cards, each card has a word on it, and you combine those two words together to make the product name that you have. And sometimes we get too narrowly focused on those two product names that we forget that we can think outside the box. Remember, your product can cure cancer if it wants to, right? Because you are a snake oil salesman. It doesn't matter. All you need is to secure the sale. You don't really care if it is truly capable of actually doing the thing, okay? So, for example, I think one of the examples in the directions is desire and the word mouth, and creating desire mouth, for example, and saying the customer is last person on earth. So if you have a product like a desire mouth, it doesn't have to just be, oh, well, mouths eat things, right? You can think outside the box and say, well, mouths also are where we say our words. So you could say, with this product, you can just say whatever is your desire and poof, it is there. Is that outlandish? Sure, but does it fit the product name? Yes, and it would be a very enticing product to want to buy, especially if you were the last person on earth, right? You're not gonna be able to go to a Walmart and just buy things. So that's one of the first tips is to think outside the box. Don't let the words limit you in what your product can do. The second tip that I have for you is to listen, and pay attention to cues. So if you're not the first salesman, then you have an advantage, because the first salesman has the biggest disadvantage out of all of them because they have to go first and they don't know what the other products are that they are competing against. So listen, and pay attention as other competitors are going through and selling the product to whoever the customer is. You need to see what the reaction is from the customer to the pitches that are being made, because that might give you clues of what they think is a good idea or product or a good feature for a product, and what is not so convincing. Because sometimes we can think something's very convincing for one of the cards is a cheerleader, right? And you think, oh, this will be great for a cheerleader. Cheerleaders are in love with beauty things. But that person who is pretending to be a cheerleader as the customer might put more of an emphasis on popularity compared to beauty. So you have to really pay attention to who the person is that is pretending to be that customer, because they may weigh things differently than what you think a stereotypical cheerleader would want. So the only way to learn that is to pay attention to the reactions to other sales pitches. And then also, when you're paying attention, you can figure out how your product could be different than their product, and how you can make yours look better than their product. And you can even include some of their stuff in your pitch and try to market it better. Tip number 3, I should say, is to try to come up with a good hook, a good lead off. I wouldn't just lead off with, my product's name is blah, okay? Instead, try to come up with a better hook to get the customer's attention first, a good lead off, and then tell them what your product is. A good way of doing this is to present a problem as a hook. So you could say, you know, cheerleaders are always trying to be the most popular. What you need is a blank so that you can be way more popular than any other cheerleader on the squad. Okay, so do you see how you present the problem first, or what you think should be their problem, and then your solution to the problem with the product name that you have chosen. So that would be a good strategy. And that's just kind of a basic sales pitch strategy anyway, is to present a problem, even if it's not really a problem that they're thinking about, just make it a problem anyway, right? Make it sound like this is definitely going to be a problem that they need to solve, and then you give your solution to that problem. Which leads into my final tip. My final tip is to just be confident, all right? Be confident in your product. Make it sound like it is the best thing ever, right? And tell them exactly why they need it. Don't be wishy-washy about it. Don't say, well, you know, mine is kind of cool, or mine kind of does the same thing as this other person's product. No. You need to say yours is the best, theirs are all terrible, and you need this in your life, right? You need to have that kind of confidence when you are selling this phony product, right? So those would be my 4 tips for improving your play in snake oil when you are trying to sell a product to a player customer. Now, one thing I do want to make note, this is a party game, and while there is technically a winner at the end, most people are just playing for fun and laughs. They're not really playing for competition. So I'm not trying to say that you're just doing this to steamroll the competition. These tips are more just to make it more fun for you, right? Because while we know it's not really about winning, it is enjoyable when the customer does pick your product from time to time. Doesn't have to be every time, but you also don't want to be where you show up to the game and nobody picks your product, right? Kind of like how in Apples to Apples you put out a card and like nobody picks your card ever for the entire game. That it kind of makes it lame and not really wanting to be there and playing with them because you feel like you're not really making any impact. So hopefully these tips can help you get your product picked a few more times throughout the game. If you do have any other tips that you think are very relevant to making sure that your product is picked in the game of snake oil, please let me know in the comments down below so we can all help each other out in doing the best we can in this fun party game. As always, thank you for watching.